aggressive about it.
Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another live stream. Welcome back to all your latest Chelsea transfer news and Chelsea news in general. Another week and same old at the moment. Still no breakthrough in negotiations for Jeremy Jacquet. But big up to everyone that's locked in. Make sure you're smashing the likes. Subscribe if you're new around here. All of that good stuff. Get involved in the chat, people. Rennes apparently now wants 70 million euros for Jeremy Jacquet. Yesterday it was 65. Now today it seems to be 70 million euros. That price seems to be going up. We've got all the latest on the pursuit of Jeremy Jacquet. We've got the latest on Levi Colwell's recovery from an ACL injury as well. The fact that potentially Tosin could leave this month or Badia Shil. We've got the latest on that. Loads of news in regards to the centre-back department. Also, still there's interest in Marcos Senesi at Bournemouth, but there's been no offers so far for him. So yeah, loads to get into, mainly regarding centre-backs chat, maybe regarding centre-backs. So yeah, here we are. But first things first, people, make sure you check out Jerseys FC Soccer Shop. Link is in the description. Use code BLUEBROTHER for 20% off names, numbers, patches, whatever you want. Good quality, affordable prices, Chelsea kits, retro kits, international kits, other team kits, whatever you want, chat, on the website. Use code BLUEBROTHER, 20% off. Great quality, affordable prices. Make sure you check it out. Now, that is enough about that. Let's get this show on the road, guys. Let's say hello to some of you lot in the chat. What are you saying? Yes, big up, big up. I would not pay 70 million for Jacquet. No, I wouldn't either. Why 70 million for this unknown centre-back? It would be crazy if we pay it. I actually don't think we will pay that much because there's been a precedent, you know, with Chelsea not wanting to go over a certain amount. Mike Mignan, for example. So I know with Gittins, we ended up getting shafted anyway. But generally speaking, like, Chelsea will walk away from deals if they don't get a price that they think is suitable for them. Walk away, we're constantly getting mugged off. I hear it. Enough is enough. I don't care anymore. Waste as much money as you like. I hear it. Sterling could, yeah, of course, Sterling potentially on loan to Napoli, although he's holding out for a move to Fulham. Yeah, well, let's wait and see what happens. Let's wait and see what happens. What else is going on? Yes, big up, big up. Yeah, Sarr looked decent last night at the AFCON. He looked very good. No doubts about it. And again, this was another point that I was going to make. You know, if you're going to bring in an unproven, inexperienced 20-year-old centre back, and you're going to spend potentially £60 million on them, why would you not just bring back Mamadou Sarr back, who's worked with Liam Rosenior, who knows Liam Rosenior, who Liam Rosenior rates highly? Why would you not just do that and then reassess the situation in the summer? That would be my question, because for the amount of money potentially being spent, you want proven quality. You want someone coming straight in who's going to make an impact and is going to make an immediate difference to this team for that amount of money. That is what you're looking for. I'm not spending £60 million on a footballer and then just, you know, accepting that it's going to be a couple of years until we see the best of them. That kind of money demands instant return. It just does. You know, it just does. When you spend that money, there's an expectation that you're able to deliver straight away. That's the reality of the situation, people. You know, that I think is that fair. Josh, Sarr, Anselmino, why do we need another 20-year-old centre-back? I hear that, but then I suppose one way you could potentially look at it is that it's likely that Badia Shil, Tosin, and possibly Chalobah, it's likely three centre-backs, or two or three centre-backs could leave in the summer. So you've got Josh, Sarr, and Anselmino plus Jacquet, or maybe Josh, two of those three on screen plus Jacquet if he ends up coming, you know, because there could be two or three centre-backs leaving. But I do hear the point in precedent, yeah. Yes, big up, brother. They won't pay that as they won't be able to flip for a profit. No, I hear it. Charlie, shouldn't the protest be aimed at asking Blueco to leave? Yeah, I agree. Yes. What else are we going off? No, obviously, no, but it's not just off one AFCON game. You know, he had a pretty good tournament and he's been doing pretty well at Strasbourg. The one thing I would say, though, and I think we discussed this yesterday. I mean, I've discussed so much stuff, whether it was on here or whether it was somewhere else. Young French centre-backs that have come over recently from Liga to the Premier League have struggled. Lenny Yoro has struggled at Man United. Kusanov, who came over from Lens last January, has struggled. You know, there's no guarantee whatsoever that Jeremy Jacquet will turn out to be any good. It's another huge gamble, chat. That's the thing. It's a huge gamble, and we're still in negotiations right now. And I'm at the point now where, at the end of it, it's just like, guys, this is who you want. Just pay the money. You're in a desperate situation because you fucked up in the summer. Everyone knows we need a centre-back. It's January. Clubs don't want to lose their best players. You're going to end up paying a premium. If you really want this guy, you just need to firm it and pay the money. Don't drag this out. You just need to firm it and pay the money. And it's high risk at the end of the day. It's an unknown quantity. It's a huge transfer fee. He'll need plenty of time to adapt, and he's not going to be ready to deliver those consistent first-team performances that we need. But as we know, chat, this is the model down to a T. If this were to not work out, it's a hugely expensive flop. And I guess, look, if you wait until the summer, if you don't end up getting Jeremy Jacquet, if you wait until the summer, then not much is going to change because the same sort of profile of player is going to be targeted. The same sort of profile of player will be targeted. And that's kind of the reality of where we're at the moment. But and I'm not saying that Jeremy Jacquet is a bad footballer, by the way. But this was the latest from Fabrizio Romano last night. And then we'll obviously get into the latest from Ben Jacobs today. So Chelsea owners and directors are involved working on the Jacquet deal. Rennes want to go over the Doku sale, which means their request is 70 million euros, 60.7 million pounds. That's mad. That is mad. And I get it, right? And people will say, and rightly so, you've got Achimpong there. You've got Ansel Mino there. You've got Mamadou Sarr there. These are guys that you can call back. However, whether we agree or disagree, I think a lot of us disagree with the current situation and what's going on. A lot of us disagree. At the end of the day, if this is your number one target, you've made it very clear this is your number one target. You just have to go and pay the money. You just have to go and pay the money and firm it. You know, it's more than you want to pay. Absolutely. But if this is your main target, don't be sort of playing hardball over a few million here and there. Again, brother, respectfully, let's not do this nonsense. I get it. You've got an agenda to run. If you go and listen to what Mamadou Sarr said, it was already agreed when he signed that he was going to go back and spend the season at Strasbourg. He said it himself. The decision to go to Strasbourg was his. The plan the whole time was for him to come and do the Club World Cup, do a bit of pre-season with us over there, and then he was always going to Strasbourg. This idea that Maresca let Sarr go and it was his choice is a narrative that people that don't like Maresca have just invented in their minds to try and paint out some false story. Sarr is there. My point is, no, the point is, though, is that the manager knows him well and he's played a lot more regularly in Liga than Jeremy Jacquet has. And he's, I would argue that he's more proven than Jacquet is right now. No, of course not. That's exactly what you'd expect them to do. He's one of their biggest talents. He's one of their star players. They've got aspirations to qualify for the Champions League. And that's going to cost a premium. That's going to cost a premium. And so this is my point. Just go and pay. Don't do this nonsense, right, where you pretend you're negotiating. You know what the price is. And you're sitting there negotiating, I just don't want a Xavi Simons situation where, Chelsea want Xavi Simons, they want Xavi Simons, yet the bid's coming. He's doing this and he's doing that. Just go and get it done. Just go and pay the money. We know that we need a centre-back. Everyone knows that we need a centre-back. Whether we agree or disagree with price, whether we agree or disagree with the profile of the player, just go and do it. Just go and do it. What are we waiting for? Because at the moment, it feels like that this lot are just going to wait until the last throws of the window to try and cobble together some sort of deal. And that's just not running for me. If you're serious, go and spend the money and get on with it. Go and get the money. So go and spend the money, get on with it. So that's the latest there from Romano. They're looking for just shy of £61 million, 60.7 million. We've then had an main update from Ben Jacobs today in terms of news here. Chelsea continue talks with Rennes for Jeremy Jacquet. Player keen on the move. Rennes want more than the 64 million euros they sold Jeremy Doku for. We know that. French defender is Chelsea's priority for now. I think it's interesting here, right, how the wording on things, because there's another report from ESPN as well. Priority for now is an interesting phrasing. As exclusively revealed last week, other options Chelsea could explore are Como's Jacobo Ramon and Bournemouth's Marcos Senesi. Ramon, tough to pull off as he only joined Como over the summer. Madrid have got a buyback clause and have not ruled out triggering it at the end of the season. Senesi is a free agent this summer. Bournemouth haven't had any approach from Chelsea or other clubs yet. For me, I look, by the way, I'm not a business person. I don't think many of you are business people. Some of you might be business people, but I don't think any of us really know about the ins and outs of football transfers, okay? But what I would say is, you know what the price is. You know that Rennes are not negotiating on that price or seem very reluctant to negotiate on that price. If you are planning to try and do a similar thing that you did with Victor Osimhen, where you waited and thought, he'll just accept less money because he's going to leave Napoli and he wants to come. No, he didn't. As simple as that. You're then in a situation where, we're waiting for Xavi Simons. It's going to happen. We never put the money on the table. Nothing happened in the end. And so, for me, I think it's highly unlikely Rennes are going to negotiate their price. I find it highly unlikely that Rennes are going to negotiate their price. They're not going to negotiate their price. They've made it very clear. This is the price. You pay it, or he's not going. This is very simple here, chat. This is very simple here. And already, you're having priority for now. You've got, obviously, a bit of news about the other transfer targets. I think that's going to be very interesting as well. But at 70 million euros, I cannot see Chelsea paying that. I cannot see them paying it. You know, and you either walk away from the deal or you pay up. That's it. That's it, chat. You walk away or you pay up. Who was even the last good centre-back developed and bought from the French league? I mean, yeah, this is a fair point. I mean, we signed... I mean, you'd probably say William Saliba. You would say William Saliba. Saliba and Fofana, probably, but Saliba more so. But Saliba and Fofana were the last two that were kind of bought from that league that have done reasonably well. But yeah, Saliba is the one, I would say. Saliba's the one. That's probably the last top centre-back that came from France that has really gone on and been a success in the Premier League. I'd say Saliba, and then maybe you'd say Fofana as well, although he's had injury problems and struggled to stay fit. But your likes of your Badia Shields and your Disassis has not worked out. Lenny Yoro and Kusanov is too early for that right now. But yeah, Saliba's the obvious standout one. But I agree with you. I agree with you. You know, that there's not been that many success rates bringing centre-backs over from France. There just hasn't been. So, yeah, there are going to be doubters. There are going to be people that are going to be thinking, hang on a second, I'm a little bit unsure on this. I don't really know what to think about it because we've been burnt so many times in the past with certain instances. So it is going to be an interesting one. Chat, keep smashing the like button. We're 50 likes. Let's get this up to 100. We're 124 in the building. So run up the likes. Let's get this to 100 likes ASAP, people. Subscribe if you're new around here, all that good stuff. Brother, we need to realize, right, that trophies doesn't equate to how good you are as a player. There are a lot of bang average players that were part of successful teams or squads that won a lot. Just because Saliba hasn't won anything or he's won one FA Cup or whatever, that doesn't mean that he's crap. Oh, we are a sell, but this sell to buy thing's nonsense because we haven't sold anyone this month, and there's money there to bring in a centre back. Chat, there's money there to bring in a centre back. You know, the money's there. So look, that's the latest there. I think what's more interesting, chat, is the money that we've spent on centre-backs, and Sky did a thing on this morning, right? It's very interesting. Money spent by position. Obviously, under Todd Bowley, slightly incorrect there. It is Bowley and Clear Lake Capital, but whatever. So we spent over $1 billion, as is well documented, as we know. We have spent £260.9 million on centre-backs. We spent 1.6 billion in total. Over 200 million pounds of that is on centre-backs. And we do not have one consistent elite level performer in that position. That's gross incompetence. That's gross negligence. That's failure of the highest order. And the centre-backs that we have signed would have been Fofana, Badia Shield. What was in that first window? Fofana and Koulibaly, sorry. Then it's what? Tosin, Badia Shield, Disassi, and then obviously Anselmino and Sarr. So we signed 7 centre-backs in that time for a cost of £260 million. Obviously, Tosin was free or whatever. And we don't have a single elite level, consistent, reliable performer. And we're about to take that spend potentially over £300 million on centre-backs, and we still won't have a consistent consistent elite level performer straight away. And this is the problem, chat, is that there have been some good signings in certain areas. For example, the fullbacks, Cucurella and Gusto, have been decent. Hato, there's some potential. Senesi would be free at the end of the season. If you look to sign him now, I can't imagine him costing an arm and a leg. If Gurhey went for 20, maybe you're looking at 15 million for him. Maybe you're looking at about 15 million pounds for him. But he's free in the summer, Senesi. But when you see that and you see the money that we've spent, you're just like, how have we got things so wrong at centre back? How have we got things so wrong at centre back? I mean, Hato is not actually really hasn't really signed to play at centre back, but how have we got things so wrong at centre back? That would be my big thing. Is that we just wasted so much money in that position. Yeah, we've wasted money in other positions as well. Don't get me wrong, but particularly at centre back, we've wasted so much money. To be honest, I'll happily take this kid instead of Tosin and Badiashile. Yeah, but it's not about that. It's about, does this guy significantly improve the team? And he doesn't. Not right now, he doesn't. This is the model to a T. This guy will be probably ready to contribute properly in 2 to 3 years' time. And we're not waiting for that. We're not waiting for another 2 to 3 years to see what's possible. We're not on that, chat. We're not on that. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with Sarr in the summer. I really don't, because you look at Mamadou Sarr, and you'd think out of him, Josh, and Anselmino, all three of those are probably unlikely to make it at Chelsea, given they're all the same age. Now, I hear the argument that Tosin, Badiashile, Chalobah, those three centre-backs there's a very good chance that 3 centre-backs leave in the summer, right? So you might think, okay, Anselmino and Sarr replace 2 of them, and Jacquet replaces the 3rd. So you could have a situation where you're like, Tosin, Chalobah, and Badiashile out. Sarr, Anselmino, and Jacquet take those spots. So then your centre-backs next season potentially would be Sarr, Anselmino, Jacquet, Fofana, Colwell as your 5. Fofana, Achimpong, Sarr, Anselmino, Jacquet, Colwell. So that would be your 6 there. That could be your 6. Yeah, I think Tosin's done at the end of the season. You've got to remember as well, by the way, chat, Tosin will have 2 years left on his contracts at the end of the season. And that's the point you get to where you are either sold or you sign a new deal. It would be gross incompetence and gross negligence, the highest order, respectfully, if we commit Tosin to new terms. It just would be. It would be ridiculous, in my opinion. Chalobah is in the same situation as well. He is in a situation where he will have 2 years remaining. Now, I'm not against keeping Chalobah as a squad player, as a rotation player. I don't think that's a complete disaster. Yeah, we got things so wrong. Look at that. 10 wingers we've signed in less than 4 years. Over £350 million. And we arguably haven't got any of them right. We arguably haven't got any of them right, which is just crazy, isn't it? It's just crazy. Yep, and that's what happens when you look for bargains. We've not really wasted money when most will get flips for profit. But we have wasted money, though. We have wasted money. But just when you see things like that, because the plan at the time when he signed was for him to go back to Strasbourg this season. That was the plan. Is that we signed him in January, spent the rest of the season at Strasbourg, and then he was always going to spend the following season there after doing the Club World Cup with Chelsea. That was the plan all along. This wasn't suddenly like, oh my God, we've let Sarr slip through the net. Why did we do that? You'd have Fofana in there as well. I mean, look, for me personally, you look at that and it's just like there's nowhere near enough top level proven quality in there. You'd have Colwell leading the back line basically, and then 4 20-year-olds, or maybe 21 by the time next season rolls around. Like that's really poor squad building. Squad building, you've got to have different ages, different profiles. There's no different ages, no different profiles in that situation. Bro, the problem is though, Mazza, is that full well that a player of similar or better quality is not going to come in. It'll be someone worse coming in. And this is the issue, right? And this is why I'm reluctant to want to let go the likes of a Fofana, the likes of a Enzo Fernandez, for example, or a Lavia, because I know full well that a worse player's coming in. If we knew that a better player was going to come in, or a better player for the system, or a better player, just in general for the balance of things, if that was going to be the case, then I wouldn't have a problem. But we've got so much evidence that players that get sold, we don't bring better players in. We don't bring better players in. We saw it this summer, in the attack. We got rid of 4 or 5 forwards, and the ones that came in weren't better than the ones that left. And that for me is a massive problem. A massive problem. Let's get down to the bottom. Big up to you, brother. Big up, big up. Bro, I've got no problem with Chalobah staying at the football club and being a squad player. He shouldn't be a regular starter, 100%. But as a third, fourth choice option, I haven't got an issue with that. Yeah, we did. Absolutely did. I mean, look, I know that Sarr won't come back in January, but ultimately we know that Blueco don't care about Strasbourg. They're not cared about upsetting people. They're not. I would keep him, not as a week in, week out star, but as a third or fourth choice player to come in, play certain games in the league, to play cup games. I don't see an issue with that. Yes, big up to you. We're not signing anyone. Let's wait and see. And we spent more on centre back. No, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. And when you see the numbers and the data laid bare here, it shows that whilst there have been some good deals, we've wasted a lot of money. And that for me is just like, that's unacceptable, chat. It's unacceptable. It really is. I don't think so. You've got James and Gusto one side, you've got Cucurella and Hato the other side. Again, do not be surprised. And look, this is me just theorizing. This is not based on any information or anything like that. But Cucurella, 27. At the end of the season, he'll have 2 years left on his contract. As we know, chat, that's the point where you're either sold or you get offered a new deal. Now, are Chelsea going to offer Cucurella a new deal at 27? Are they? I don't know. Are they going to offer him a new deal? Was it telling that when Cucurella signed a new contract, it wasn't actually a new contract in terms of length. It was just improved terms. So do not be surprised in the summer if Cucurella is potentially sold. I wouldn't rule that out, chat. James will sign a new deal and James will stay, but Cucurella with 2 years left, I think there's a chance he could be sold, which would be madness, but it would fit in with what they do. Unfortunately, ultras is not a British thing. It's not a British football thing. It's very much a European thing, like France, Italy, Germany, Spain. It absolutely is. Absolutely is. I mean, look, we know that obviously Saliba didn't go straight into the Arsenal team. He had two loans. He went back on loan to St Etienne, and then he went out, and then he went on loan to Marseille as well. So he went St Etienne, Marseille. Um, yes, St Etienne, Marseille, and those two loans really helped him in his development. Really, really important. And so, look, I don't think we're going to end up like Spurs or anything, but there's a situation that we need to be looking at here. I don't really care about experience. They just need to be the best quality of player. Um, yeah, they do need to be good quality, but you also need to remember though that these players were going into much lesser clubs with way less pressure, but the expectations not the same. If Kante or Mahrez or Iliman and Jai had gone straight into Chelsea, I think the outcome's very, very different. Personally speaking, I think the outcome is very, very different on that one. I think it really is very different, chat. Bro, but I know it's mental. It's absolutely mental. But I think this is genuinely. I don't think any of us would be surprised if Cucurella doesn't sign a new contract in the summer. We all want him to, but I don't think any of it would be a surprise. I don't think any of it would be a surprise at all. And look, by the way, I don't disagree with 2 years sign or be sold. I don't disagree with that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But none of us, I don't think a single one of us in here would be shocked if Cucurella, if they looked to try and move him on. That wouldn't be a surprise to any of us. And that's where we need to be worried, chat. Because you know full well you're not signing a better player than Cucurella at left back if he were to go in the summer. You know you're not doing that. There's no way that's happening. No, I don't think James leaves. No, I don't think James will leave. The hooligans thing was a cultural thing. Like that was like sort of 70s and 80s. That's gone. That's gone now. 70s and 80s. Modern day football is very, very different. It doesn't have that. No idea. No idea because I don't organize it. No, the sell to buy thing was BS. It was BS for us basically messing up in the summer. It was something that was kind of some narrative that was invented that because we were under UEFA restrictions, we had to sell to buy, which clearly isn't true. Which clearly isn't true, chap. Clearly isn't true. Bro, they will. Look, I don't want them to, but I think there's a very good chance they will. There's a very good chance they will. If they don't, I'll be delighted. But I think there's a good chance. Cucurella is definitely one to watch in the summer, chat. He's definitely one to watch in the summer over a potential departure. I'm not saying it's going to be a definite departure, but it's for sure one to watch for a potential departure. Given the contractual situation. Yeah, no, I have seen a Gurhey quotes. I mean, look, obviously, clearly, he wasn't happy with how he was treated at the club or whatever, and that's just the way it is, isn't it? Yeah, potentially. Again, it depends what happens. I think Cuckoo, sure. If we miss out on Champions League football, I think there's a chance that Enzo Fernandez could potentially look to try and leave. Whether he will or not remains to be seen. But I think he's definitely someone that could look to try and leave. I definitely think that. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting end of this window, and it's going to be, obviously, as always, a very, very interesting summer. A very interesting summer. So we'll wait and see. No, I don't think so. No, I don't. And I don't want that to come across as like, oh my God, we can't sign anyone. But I don't think we are going. I don't think we would be able to get a Yildiz, personally. Bro, he didn't sign a new contract. It was improved terms. The length was the same. Was the same. It was never a new contract. It was just improved terms. So basically a pay rise at the end of the day. So basically Cucurella got a pay rise, but not improved terms. Not improved terms. So yeah. Yildiz, I wouldn't have thought so. James is on 250k at the moment, I think. James, at a bare minimum, should be offered the same terms minimum, but he'll need a pay rise, 275, 300k, and that wouldn't be outrageous at all. That would not be outrageous at all. People think Enzo could leave. Enzo could leave, but again, whether he wants to leave or not, I don't get the impression he wants to leave. But also, him leaving would be conditional on Chelsea receiving an offer that they deem acceptable. And Chelsea would be wanting to get probably at least 70 or 80 million for Enzo Fernandez. 25 years old, prime years of his career. They'd be looking to get 70 or 80 million pounds, in my opinion. That's what I reckon. Yeah, and this is a fair point. Is that the longer if they tie Cucurella down to an extension, then I'd be absolutely delighted. But it also would indicate that you're not going to end up getting very much money for him. That's just the reality, and it just depends whether they're going to do that. Yes, I will be. Yes. Yeah, and I think there's a very good chance all of those go in the summer. Certainly Badiashile and Tosin. I don't know about Chalobah for certain, but again, Chalobah will be 2 years left on his contract in the summer as well. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting situation as well. Chalobah will be 2 years on the contract in the summer. Tosin 2 years on the contract in the summer. Badiashile, not quite. No, not quite Badiashile. But yeah, there's a very good chance that those three all leave. Yeah, and this is the problem, Goatfather. Like, you know, that's why the Champions League qualification is absolutely critical. Absolutely critical to what we're looking to do. What's James now? James is 26. But James didn't cost anything in the first place. So anything you make on him would be profit because he's an academy graduate. So that situation I don't think really applies with him. No, there are players on more than that. Reece James is on more than that. I think Fofana might be on more than that. Yeah, there's a few. George should be leaving, but you know, no offers have come in for him. So I don't really know what's going on there. But George, the expectation is that he leaves. And to be honest, though, like with all the transfer windows, like shit doesn't seem to get going until right at the end. Things don't seem to get going until near the end of the window. So maybe expect some more movement on George towards the end. I think the window closes 2nd or 3rd of February. You know, let's wait and see. But yeah, at the moment we're still locked in negotiations, obviously, with Rennes for him, and it's just going to be a case of chat. Do we want to pay the money or not? Let's not waste our time here. Yeah, but I don't agree on this one. I don't agree on the Enzo situation at all. I don't know why so many fans don't rate him. It's really odd. It's really strange. The guy's got 50 GA since he joined the club, which from midfield is outstanding. I really don't understand why Enzo is so divisive. Why so many people don't rate him? What all these things? I don't get it. I really don't get it. It's a strange one. What's also a strange one, chat, is why we're not on 100 likes. We're 155 in the building. Big up to every single one of you. Why are we only on 81 likes, chat? Why are we on 81 likes? Get this up to 100 likes ASAP, people. There's more than enough of you in here. Run it up, run it up. I think most teams rate George as equally as the chat. He's not worth as much as he or the club think. Well, yeah, because there was an offer from Fulham on deadline day, £22 million, which was accepted. We're obviously not going to get. I don't know if we're going to get that again or something near that fee because he's not played as much. You're looking at 15 to 20 mil for George, and I think that's very fair. I think that's very fair for him. Yeah, bro, I hear you. And to be honest, it wouldn't be a surprise if we ended up bottling it. But at the same time, I do believe that we will. I do believe that we will make a signing. I do believe that we will make a signing. But again, I don't know who it would be. You'd expect it to be Jeremy Jacquet, but if they're not prepared to pay the money, then it won't be him. Then it won't be him, obviously. Yeah, but also we only got ourselves to blame because everyone knows that we need a centre back, and when you go for a team's best player when they're trying to qualify for the Champions League and you're trying to do it mid-season, there's going to be a premium to pay for that. He's under contract until 2029. There's going to be a premium to pay for that. So, and Chelsea, I mean, I'd like to think they're not that stupid, but maybe they are. They would have been fully aware that that Rennes are going to demand top money for Jacquet. None of this should be a surprise to them. None of this should be a surprise to them at all. At the moment, look, at the moment, it's not happening right now because we're negotiating still over fee, probably structure of the deal and whatnot. Look, you'd expect this to happen, but with Chelsea, you just don't know. You'd expect it to happen, but you don't know. Anything is possible because we know full well. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see at the end of the day, chat. We'll see. Yeah, bro. People don't understand, and people aren't ready for it. When Enzo leaves, whenever he leaves at some point, only then will people start to realize what he brings to the team, what he brings to the table. Only then are people going to start to realize, chat. Only then will they start to realize, and by then it'll be too late. It'll be too late. There's a number of players that people have wanted to leave the football club, and they've left, and they've realized that actually, do you know what? They weren't as bad as I thought. And people do this all the time. People do this all the time. And Enzo Fernandez will be another one of those when he does come round to leaving. That will be in that same category. People that say that Andre Santos is better than Enzo Fernandez is just nonsense. It's just pure delusion. It's being so ingrained and engrossed in an agenda that you just don't see logic. That's basically what it is, chat. That's basically what it is. Yeah, Mateta would be a brilliant signing. He would honestly be a brilliant signing. But yeah, obviously it makes too much sense. So we won't do it. So we won't do it. Makes too much sense for this club to do, chat. What else is coming in the chat? I'm gonna have to go right down to the bottom of the chat. No, I don't think Santos is better than Lavia. I like Santos, by the way, but he's not better than Enzo, and he's not better than Lavia right now. Yeah, I think he is, but at the end of the day, he comes in and he'd make an impact and he'd make a difference. That's the big thing here. He'd come in, he'd make an impact, and he'd make a difference. That's what we're looking for, chat. That is exactly what we're looking for. Exactly what we're looking for. Chelsea, yes, we're gonna get to a Sterling move. Hold on. Yeah, I mean that was another really weird. That was another really weird kind of agenda that was running at one point as well. It was so odd. I mean, Sterling's alive. Sterling is alive and he's real. He's alive and he's real. I don't know if he's going to go. I don't know if he's going to go to Napoli. I think he's holding out for a move to Forest. But do you know what's interesting as well, chat? Is this article from ESPN, right? And as I was saying earlier, the wording seems to be changing a little bit as well. Where is it? Is that it? No. That's the one we're looking for. 2 seconds, chat. Sources suggest that should a deal for Jacquet fall through, Chelsea could return for Marcos Senesi, but there's been no contact between Chelsea and Bournemouth yet. Ben Jacobs has also said that. This, to me, already feels like they're putting the briefs out there, they're putting the feeders out there that just in case this doesn't happen, you know, maybe there's another idea. We've got another idea. We're going to go for someone else. It feels like they're already starting to brief that this might not happen. You know, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but when you see things like this and you're starting to think, oh God, is this actually going to happen or not? Is this going to happen or not? And I don't know. I don't know if it will. Yes, big up to you, brother. I hope you're well. Wharton's excellent. Elliot Anderson is very good. The problem is though, right? And it pains me this. I don't think if Wharton or Anderson have got a choice between Chelsea, Man City, maybe Real Madrid for Wharton, potentially other clubs, right? Because we don't pay the top wages, we are going to have to rely basically now for players to join this football club. We've got to rely on them really wanting to join the club and believing in the sporting project. That's what we have to rely on now because we're not paying the wages that, you know, Arsenal or Man City or Man United or Liverpool. We're not paying the wages that those clubs will pay. So in order to get these players, what we're relying on is players wanting to join the club and believing in the sporting project. That's what we're relying on now. And that's a tough sell, particularly for the more proven players, for the more established players. That's a tough sell, a really tough sell, chat, and one that and one where we're going to struggle. You know, you're not going to get the top players when you're offering maybe 150k a week. You're just not going to get. You're just not going to get the top players. Those top players are not coming, chat. And so, and now belief in the sporting project is going to be dwindling. Belief in the sporting project is going to be dwindling. But I don't think we could easily get any of them, though. That's the thing. I don't think we could easily get any of them. I think that's where the problem lies is, no, I don't think we could easily get any of them. Probably Lavia, because he's played, surprisingly played more games, I think. Yeah, he has played more games. I think Lavia is a better footballer than Santos, but obviously Santos has got the availability over him. But when they're both fit and playing their best, for me, Santos is a better player. Yeah, we could do. I mean, I wouldn't be against that. Yeah, it would. Yeah, it'd be very, very good. Yeah, exactly, and that's why that's why we struggle. And that's why we're going to struggle. The Gurhey quotes. Let me just quickly read that. It was when I got transferred to the football club, Chelsea to Palace. So when he got transferred to Palace and played my first game against Chelsea, we lost 3-0. It wasn't a great day, but there was only one fan base singing that day, knowing full well what the score was, knowing full well what the result was. So a bit of a dig at the Stamford Bridge crowd, which, I mean, yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's not wrong, but that was the quote. No, I'm not Charlie Cresswell. Yeah, exactly. We wanted Simmons all summer, and then suddenly, oh, we ended up with Buonanotte. Brother, I hope it's not. I hope it's not the same where we end up with we go for Jacquet, and then we end up with the Charlie Cresswell or something, or we end up with God knows who, or we end up with no one. That's my concern. That would be my worry as to, oh God, what could the alternative be? That's the that's the real concern here. But let's hope actually for once we can put our finger out our asses and get a deal together. The JJ rumor is who's JJ? Oh, Jacquet, sorry. It's just another Elise rumor. They know this kid is a serious prospect, so we'll end up with another toss-in on a free and have to watch Jacquet light it up somewhere else. Let's wait and see. Look, at the end of the day, chat, we don't really know what's going on right now. But we'll find out soon enough. We'll definitely find out soon enough what's going on. But yeah, look, I don't have huge faith. I don't have huge faith that we can get this deal done because we've messed up so many times in the past, and I don't think that's a outrageous thing to say. Well, he might. Well, yeah, he might do. No, look, no, sure. I understand the reasoning behind the long contracts, and it's easier to get rid of someone on lesser wages and whatnot. I get all that. But look, I don't care about the contract length at the end of the day. I just want quality players bought in, and we're just not doing that. That's my issue. It wasn't as good as what people expected it to be. And then a load of younger people turned up, and I'm talking probably like teenagers or whatever, or certainly early 20s turned up. And as soon as they started chanting about current players and we hate Tottenham or whatever, that just ruined it all. It watered down the message, and it was an embarrassment, those people doing that. No, he hasn't. He hasn't. But look, it's obvious that Chelsea are definitely interested in Jacquet, for sure. But then there's the interest is there, right? That the interest is undeniable, but how advanced the interest is, how advanced any potential conversations are, isn't clear. But it was very interesting in the summer because again, Ornstein on Xavi Simons. Ornstein never mentioned anything on Chelsea and Xavi Simons. Never mentioned anything. So yeah, I mean, whether that's something to look into or not, I don't know. But yeah, he never mentioned anything. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, chat. It'll be very interesting to see. Look, I just hope this gets done. Yeah, but bro, there's loads of stuff coming in. There's loads of stuff coming in. Put it in again. Because like, I'm not. I can't read everything that comes out. Since it would make no sense under this model unless he's a free. Well, he's a free in the summer. So, but then again, he's 29 in May. Is that something that we do? It's probably not. It's probably not something we do. But yeah, look, the protest didn't go to plan, chat. I think that's fair to say. But look, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see on Jacquet. I've got no idea. You'd expect it to happen. You'd expect it to happen given all the noise about it, but we've been here before. We have been here before. And we know what happened with Xavi Simons. We've been here before with multiple deals. And so until it's done, until he's holding the Chelsea shirt up, you can never have full faith in these directors that they are going to get a deal done. You can never have full faith. And I'd love to have more belief. I'd love to have the belief that they'd get it right, and they can close deals out. But I unfortunately do not have that belief, chap. I do not have the belief that they're going to do that. They're not paying 70 million euros. No chance. No chance are they paying 70 million euros. I think we know that. We know that for sure, chat. They're not paying 70 million euros. No way. No way are they paying 70 million euros. No, I don't think we do get Anderson. I don't think we do. Because a lot of clubs are after Elliot Anderson. Better clubs than us, unfortunately. Chat, we're on 113 likes. Let's get this up as close to 150 as we can. Make sure you smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. All of that good stuff. But smash these likes up. We're 165 in the building. Only 113 likes. Come on, chat. We're 172 now in the building. I wonder if someone's done a raid. Has there been a raid or anything? Who knows? I don't know what's going on, but we're getting more numbers in. Are they bringing in Jacquet to keep Cole Palmer warm? Funny, yeah, a jacket to keep him warm. Yet very good. Who knows? Yes, big up to you, mate. Run the likes up, people. Czech walks, Ravel walked, Poch walked, Maresca walked. Yeah, of course they did. They all did. They all walked out, chat. They all walked at the end of the day. And so, yeah, it is hard to have belief. You know, they don't want the best people at the football club. They want their people at the football club. Oh, let's turn that off. Look, who knows if we're going to do it? But the critical thing is, chat, whether we pay 60 or 70 million pounds for Jacquet or whatever they're asking for, I don't know. It's an absurd asking price for a player of his pedigree, for a player of his experience and what he's done in the game so far. Whether we go for Jacquet, whether we pay that money for Jacquet or whatever, who knows? But what we cannot do is end this window without a centre-back coming in that improves the squad. Because otherwise, once again, it will be gross incompetence from the idiots upstairs. If we don't, whether it's Jacquet or whether it's someone else, we cannot end this window without a centre-back coming in to improve the squad. We cannot do that, chat. We cannot do that. We cannot. We cannot do it. And as always, if that did happen, they'll get away with it again. They'll get away with it again. They'll take zero accountability. They'll put out a load of BS and they'll make it everybody else's fault, bar theirs. And that's what will happen. That's what will happen, chat. That is exactly what will happen. But hey, it is what it is at the end of the day. No, of course, yeah. There's I mean, there's nothing's particularly funny right now, but yeah, no, of course, there's always there's always a few laughs. Yeah, of course. Yeah, 100%, bro, 100%. They'll do the we tried one. Can you imagine that, right? Can you imagine that if we don't? This is all ifs and buts, right? But if we didn't sign a centre back, and then their answer to that was, yeah, we'll just reintegrate the Sassy. Could you imagine that? We didn't sign anyone, but by the way, guys, here's your centre back. It's the Sassy, and yeah, we're reintegrating him into the mix. Oh yeah, bro, we know that. I think pretty much every Chelsea fan knows that we're not signing any proven players. And the only players of, say, experience that we sign are on free transfers. So, yeah, we know that Chelsea aren't going to pay for proven players. We know that, chat. We know that. Yeah, very good, very good. Bro, I'll be honest. I don't think spending 60 million quid on a player who's played 29 games in Liga is the answer. If it was down to me, you recall Sarr and you spend that money better elsewhere. I'm not saying that Jacquet is not a good player. I'm not saying that Jacquet doesn't have some top-level potential. But if you're spending that money, that level of money on a centre-back, they need to be top quality. They need to be proven quality. They need to be coming in and making an instant impact. I'm not spending £60 million on a centre half and then them needing then waiting 2 or 3 years to see the best of them. You know, that's not what you're doing. Look, if this guy was 20 million quid and that was the situation, then fine. But when you're paying ridiculous money, the expectation goes up. The expectation goes up. And for that money, people will rightly expect top quality player, instant impact, coming in, putting in top level performances pretty much straight away. That is what they'll be expecting, chat. That is exactly what they'll be expecting. And so, for me, if you've got that money to spend, then you should be going and signing a Nico Schlotterbeck, for example. And maybe you use Ansel Mino as part of that deal if you have to sacrifice Ansel Mino to get Nico Schlotterbeck or whatever. Maybe you do that. But if you've got that money to spend on a centre-back, you shouldn't be spending it on someone who's played 29 games in their career. You should be going for proven quality. That's why people are frustrated. That's why people are frustrated. Because there needs to be proven quality. Bro, I've said this all along. Year 4, you have to be competing. There's no excuses next season if we don't compete. There are no excuses. We have to compete next season. But I think most of us in the chat are resigned to the fact that we're not going to compete next season. I think most of us know that. Schlotterbeck would leave Germany. Schlotterbeck for sure would leave Germany. Nathan Collins. Brother, come on. Again, Murillo as well. If you're going to spend 60, 70 million pounds, then you need to be looking at Murillos. You need to be looking at Schlotterbecks. Like, these are the kinds of player that you need to be looking at. And we simply aren't looking at that caliber of player. But again, I don't know if he will hold out for the Bayern move, Yo Mosey. I'm not sure if he will hold out for the Bayern move. He seems pretty... He wants to join Chelsea. Now, why he wants to do that, I'm not sure. Look, if I was him, I'd be waiting till the end of the season, and then I'd have, you know, bigger clubs interested in me. I'd have Bayern Munich interested in me. I'd have maybe Real Madrid interested in me. But look, if he's very keen to join Chelsea, then fair play to him. Fair play to him if he's keen to join Chelsea. I respect that, and that's what you want. You want someone that wants to join the football club. Of course you do. But yeah, if you've got that money to spend, you've got to be going for better. Schlotterbeck, Murillo, you know, what's to say that Forest wouldn't sell if you went and put £60 million on the table now for Murillo? Could that tempt them? Could that potentially tempt them? You know, maybe it would. Maybe it would. I don't know. But I don't think it's an unreasonable opinion to think that if you've got that money to spend, you should be spending it on someone better. That's my thing. That's all I'm saying. I don't think that's unfair. I really don't think that's unfair, chat. Bro, Rennes hold all the cards. He's one of their best players. It's mid-season, and they're trying to qualify for the Champions League. He signed a new contract in the summer. He's under contract until 2029. You know full well in January there's a premium. When you're desperate, there's a premium. And so they're well within their rights to ask for this money. They're well within their rights to ask for this money. I'm sort of almost past the point of caring about the fee. I'm just almost like, if this is the guy that you want, then just pay. Just pay and get it done. You're not going to get every single deal on terms that you want. Sometimes you just got to pay more. Sometimes, you've got to do what it takes to get the deal done. It might not be favorable terms. It might not be what you wanted to pay. But if this is your guy, if this guy is as good as you say, if this guy is going to make a big difference to the team, then that costs money. You can't constantly try and take shortcuts all the time. Bro, Senesi's free agent in the summer. He's not a free agent now. He's a free agent in the summer. So, yeah, I don't know on that one personally. I don't know on that one. Senesi, look, got experience, decent level centre back, but he wasn't really getting in last season. He struggled for minutes last season with Zabani and Huijsen there. Yeah, I'm not too sure, to be perfectly honest. I'm not too sure. No, because if you sign him for 60 million and he signed a 6-year deal or whatever, and he stayed 3 years, that's 30 million paid off, because it'd be 10 million years. So that's 30 million paid off. So you'd sell him at 23, 24, and you don't need to sell him for 30 mil to get your money. So you could make a profit on him if he stayed for 3 years. You'd get 30 mil. You'd easily get 30 mil from him 3 years' time. That's the point that I'm making. But yeah, generally speaking, we're not the best negotiators. I think we have to be honest here, chat. We are not very good negotiators. We're not the best negotiators. We tend to drag things out for ages and then just end up spending the money anyway. So yeah, that kind of confuses me a little bit. We end up spending the money anyway, so why drag it out to then just go and spend it? So yeah, that's my kind of thoughts on it. Just go and do it. Nope, none. I haven't seen any of him. I haven't seen any of Jacobo Ramon. He joined from Real Madrid in the summer to Como. Madrid have got a buyback clause. They might activate it in the summer. We'll wait and see. But yeah, I've not watched any of him. I've watched very little of Como this season. So I don't know an awful lot about Ramon. It's not Jorge Mendes. I don't know who it is, but it's not Jorge Mendes. Yeah, bro, we don't do that. We don't do that. Well, look, that's something that I wouldn't be against whatsoever, but that unfortunately is not something that Chelsea Football Club does. Chat, we're on 130 likes. Keep smashing the likes. Subscribe if you're new around here. All that good stuff. Run it up. Run it up. What else is going on, guys? What else is going on? Doesn't seem like there's too much else going on right now, chat. I mean, no Jeremy Jacquet updates today. So another day that's seemingly gone by. And there's nothing on George. No, George is expected to leave this month. I think that's going to be one closer to the end of the transfer window. Closer to the end of the transfer window. But right now, no, there's nothing on Tyreek George. Absolutely nothing on Tyreek George. But yeah, look, I think to be honest, this Jacquet thing, look, you could get something at any moment. You could get something at any moment. But I kind of, just from a selfish point of view, I just wish they'd get on with it. I just wish they would get on with it. You know, just pay the money, bring him in, and let's stop wasting time. Because in an ideal world, you'd like him to make his debut against Crystal Palace on Sunday, but he'd have to be registered by Friday. Are we going to get a deal done for Jeremy Jacquet by Friday? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Bro, what are we keeping George for? George is not getting in the team. So what are we keeping him for? What are we keeping him for? He's definitely he's not, you know, that's not doing anything for us. I don't know if we are going for a number 10 this month. Look, there could be more than one player coming in. We are a body down because Buonotte's gone. We probably are light in that number 10 position. There's no doubt about it. And that's why, you know, I've spoken about maybe looking at exploring recalling Nico Jackson, because then you can have Joao Pedro as your alternative number 10 option. And you can have Jackson and Delap competing for the striker spot, you know? That's why. Any news on Mudryk? No news on Mudryk. There's nothing on Mudryk at the moment, chat. So yeah, we've got to wait and see on that. We just need to bring in quality at the end of the day. I don't care how old someone is, but they need to be top quality. They need to be top quality. That's what we need. Top quality players to come to the football club. And right now, all it is potential. And we don't know how good they're going to be. Some might be good. Some might be shit. That's the reality right now. I think Paez could well return to Chelsea and then be sent on loan to the Championship somewhere. That's a situation to keep an eye out on for sure. How good is Jeremy Jacquet? He's got top level potential, but that's what it is right now. You know, he's looked decent for Rennes. He's a France under-21 international. He's got top level potential, but again, you know, he's unproven. So he basically fits our model to an absolute T. Top level potential, but unproven. Dacho Fofana's been recalled, yes, because he's more than likely going to be sold. That's why he's been recalled. Antonio Silva, yeah, again, he's someone that I wouldn't be against coming in. Gittins might be back for Wednesday. I don't know. He's obviously been ill. So yeah, we wait and see on that. We wait and see on that. We do wait and see on that, chat. What else was going on? Well, we sold players that contributed for us and then bought in worse players to replace them. That's why we're in a bit of a mess. But chat, I'm going to have to round this one out here now. Big up to everybody that's tuned in this afternoon. Appreciate each and every single one of you. Make sure you smash that like button on the way out. Let's get this to 150 if we can. We're on 137. So smash the likes on the way out. Get this up to 150. Subscribe if you're new round here as well. Every new subscriber helps. Let's get closer to that 20,000 mark. We're about 240 odd away. Big up to everyone for the support. Love as always. Great show, chat. I will see you lot again tomorrow. Smash the like, subscribe. You lot know what to do. Thanks for the support. Great show. I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Up the Chelsea, and we're out. Love.